Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon. Hey guys, video. So back at another card fight Vanguard deck profile. So you guys enjoyed them, like, comment, subscribe, and let's start, shall we? This time we are covering Nova Grapplers, Beast Deities. So, Beast Deities are... Okay, well, let's start with before Extreme got revealed. So Beast Deities were fine because they have reverse, and reverse could do some really BS combos and get a bunch of restands. And then, you know, we got some good strides for premium. So, you know, Nova Grappler was looking good for once. No offense to every Nova Grappler main, but we all know Nova Grappler is kind of like the testing ground for Excel decks. So Nova Grappler finally was looking good for once. Then we got Extreme. Okay, Extreme was questionable, but we could let it pass. And then we saw Vowing Saber. Yeah, Vowing Saber just blows Extreme out of the water and makes you question why Extreme even exists, but like, we got Extreme, might as well build a deck around him, so let's go ahead and get started, shall we? It's more of an ethics deck based off of Beast Deities, but still. So first up, our starter for today will be Beast Deity White Tiger. It's a grade 0 with boost, 10k shield, 6k base, auto, and road upon. You may draw a card. Then if your opponent's Vanguard is a grade 1 or grade, you get a quick shield ticket to your hand. It's a standard starter ability, nothing too special about it. You get a draw, you get a quick shield, and while yes, normally the starter doesn't technically matter as long as it has that skill, in this case it kind of does because one of your main... I want to say playmakers, but one of the cards that fixes certain situations requires Beast Deity White Tiger to be in Soul to get its full effect off. So you obviously want to have White Tiger as your starter just so you can have that benefit because it is a good benefit that could save you in the long run. So make sure Beast Deity White Tiger is your starter in this deck because it actually serves a use. Then we have our trigger lineup. We run 8 draws, 4 crits, 4 heals. The draws being 4 copies of 3 minutes, my friend's favorite draw, who he will find a way to insert into every fucking Nova Grappler deck that has draw triggers in it. Unless it only has 4 draws, then he will willingly give up on Twin Blader, but even then, he will probably still try to force my way into 3 minutes. Then we have Twin Blader, grade 0 boost, 0 shield, 5k power, draw trigger, continuous sentinel. You have 4 zones in your deck, and auto guard when placed. Discard one of your units cannot be turned to battle. Okay, standard PG, it's a draw PG, you can see the purpose of it. Like, the whole point of this deck, you are going to most likely get into a situation where you might run out of hand cards very quickly, so getting the hand cards from the draw triggers are really helpful, especially when you're going for that last minute rush. And then we obviously run the crits because, deal more damage in one go, especially because board restand. Well, not board restand. I mean, you could get a board restand if you really tried hard enough, but like, is it really worth it though? So like the crit, you run the crit just to force numbers, especially on the turns where your Vanguard's going to restand, because the Vanguard restand is where it starts getting dangerous. And then we have 4 heals and Wild Boy. Okay, we all know why I'm running Wild Boy. We all know why I'm not running Heal Gardens at this point. If you don't and you want the full explanation, go watch the Locks video from like a few months ago. If you want the simplified explanation, it is they are detrimental to my playstyle. That is all you're getting. Let's go ahead and move on. First up, our grade 1, the one that requires White Tiger. 4 copies of Beast Deity Scarlet Bird. Grade 1, boost, 10k shield, 8k base, auto rear. When placed during your main phase, Soul Blast 1, stand all your units. If you stand 2 or more units, and if Beast Deity White Tiger is in your soul, draw a card. Okay, the reason why it's here is because he can stand any units. So, and he stands them all at once, first off. So, he's not the only card in this deck that can stand stuff, but he is one of the very few that can stand everything at once. So, you obviously want to run him in a deck that can attack during main phase, so you can get more attacks during your actual battle phase, especially because your Vanguard can attack during main phase. Now, you can choose not to run him, because I could see why maybe you don't want to pay a Soul Blast, or maybe like the benefit of only getting a draw out of White Tiger and stand 2 or more isn't good enough for you, but I remind you, he is the only one that can stand everything during the main phase in this deck. You can run Lift Tauros, who can also stand stuff, but then you have to religiously top deck into him. So because I've been in that situation, and I know how much it sucks to only have Lift Tauros or not draw him, then obviously you're gonna run Scarlet Bird to make sure you don't fall into that situation. 4 copies of Scarlet Bird, religiously run him because he will save your ass one way or another. Good card. Genuinely though, he does actually save me with either with a draw that board restand. Then we have 4 copies of Beast Deity Max Beat, grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base, auto when it's placed on van or rear. Look at top 3, choose up to 1 grade 2 or greater Beast Deity in its card name from among them, reveal it, put it to your hand, put the rest on bottom, and then if it was on rear, if something was put into hand and it was on rear, you rest this unit. So, it's a good card. Guaranteed, like a free top 3 search. And you can add anything. Hell, you can add a grade 2, so you don't have to GS this next turn. You can add a grade 3, so you can set up for your plays 2 turns before. And, you know, even when after you get to grade 3, he's still useful because he allows you to search pieces. Now, it's because of this thing I was very tempted to not run 12 grade 2s because he can search for them. But then I remembered is that a good idea? And then I flash back to my other deck that also only runs 8 grade 2s, and then I thought about how often I get close to G-assisting, and while, yes, I have only had to G-assist for grade 2 2 times out of the times I've used that deck, I do not like the pressure I feel having to not G-assist, so... You know, I still run 12 grade 2s, but max speed definitely does help. He can get grade 2s, he can get grade 3s, and he does it all for free. And he can rest himself, which is fine because, like I said, Scarlet Bird will just stand him. So, 4 of max speed, one of the best grade 1s in the deck. I argue that he is probably one of the best grade... He is the best grade 1 in this deck. Then we have Beast Deity, Lift Tauros, who at the start when he was first revealed, I was like, he's the best Nova Grappler card to ever exist. Then I remembered, right, yeah, this kind of does better, and then this also kind of is better. So, Lift Tauros is a grade 1 with boost, 10k shield, 10k base, auto rear. When placed during your main phase, you may stand one of your units with Beast Deity in its card name. Okay, here's my issue. Scarlet Bird is already better, because Scarlet Bird, while yes, it costs a Soul Blast for it, stands everything, regardless of their name. Granted, this whole deck is Beast Deity to begin with, so that part doesn't matter, I'm just making a point. But also, he can get a draw, but okay. Then Auto Van or Rear, when your Vanguard's attack hits, look at top 5, reveal to 1 grade 3, add it to hand, and shuffle your deck. If you put a card and it was on Rear, shove himself to Soul. Okay. He can send himself to Soul, so you can keep Soul Blasting as much as you need to. He can get you top 5 searches, which can be helpful for getting grade 3s for skills later on, especially because the most important grade 3 to make sure you get in Soul is the OG Ethics Buster, because the other 2 require him for their full effects to go off. So I would say make sure that no matter what, you get that OG Ethics Buster in Soul, regardless of what you have to do. So 4 of Lift Tauros, because that's what he's here for, just to get that grade 3 search, but then afterwards, all he's really here for is just standing one of your units. And while yes, that is good, again, Scarlet Bird is inherently better. Like, even in the case where you have to actually sacrifice the White Tiger, you're standing more units inherently than you would just from Lift Tauros. So take that as you will. If in the case where you only have one rested unit, obviously call the Lift Tauros. In the case where you have multiple, obviously call Scarlet Bird, because there's no reason to call Lift Tauros unless you really need that grade 3. So 4 of Lift Tauros, but restanding-wise, more or less goes to Scarlet Bird. Then we move on to our grade 2s. Okay, so here's what you can do here. You can choose to run this, or you can choose to turn this into Aluminum Dragon. I kept no Aluminum Dragon because I want to make it a full Ethics grade 3 deck, meaning all the grade 3s are Ethics Busters. But if you don't agree with that, and I can see perfectly reason why, because Aluminum Dragon is the only one out of those 3 that would actually have a fucking rearguard skill. Yes, because none of the Ethics for some reason have a rearguard skill, then yes, I could see you running Aluminum Dragon over this, especially because Max B can get you a grade 2. So 3 of Beast Deity Eclair Dragon, or 3 copies of Aluminum Dragon do with this as you see fit. Or another option if you want to put in another option. Anyways, grade 2 intercept, 5k shield, 9k base, auto rear, when placed during your main phase. If you have a grade 3 Vanguard with Beast Deity in its card name, counterblast 1, drop a hand card, gets +3, and attacks your opponent's Vanguard. If the attack did not hit, stand this unit at the end of battle. Okay, pluses to this. It is a main phase attack. That's a 12k swing. So if they're also at grade 3 and they're playing either an Excel or Protect deck, this is at least a 5k poke. That's good. That's just a free 5k poke, which is really nice. And if they don't take it, then he restands. And if they do take it, well, they just took a damage during the main phase. So that's all around a plus. It's not amazing, like I said. It's morally here because it's a grade 2. I mean, you could run Black Tortoise. I just don't like the fact that Black Tortoise costs a Soul Blast for whatever reason, despite the fact we have Soul to spare in this deck. Like, too much Soul to spare, but I don't know why I don't want to run Black Tortoise. Either way, Eclair Dragon's nice. Like I said, you can tech him out for an Aluminum Dragon, because while you will only run 8 grade 2s at that point in total, Max Speed will end up fixing it, because hopefully you will see one from the top 3. And if you don't, well, sucks to suck. So 3 of Eclair Dragon, but he can be pretty much whatever you want. Then we have 4 copies of Beast Deity Typhoon Bird. Slowly but surely, she's begun to screw me over time. She started being really good to me, and then she started getting worse and worse to the point where I'm starting to question, does this card have a grudge against me? Grade 2, intercept, 5k shield, 9k base, act, vent, or rear once per turn. If you have a Vanguard of Beast Deity in its card name, regardless of it's herself or anything else, card boss 1, look at top 5, call up to 1 Beast Deity in its card name other than a grade 2 from one of them as rest, and shuffle your deck. Basically, it says that so it doesn't call itself, and then you just enter a loop of getting a board, and then you Scarlet Bird, because Scarlet Bird doesn't have to be placed from hand, and then Scarlet Bird stands all of them. So good news is just get you a free rear guard that isn't a Beast Deity. I mean, that is a Beast Deity that isn't a grade 2. That's really nice because it can slowly set up your board and makes it far more deadly, and now you have an excuse to call Scarlet Bird, because you probably already tackled something this turn that they probably already took, so that it doesn't restand, and then Scarlet Bird's is going to restand your units, and then boom, you get a draw out of it. So all around Typhoon Bird's really nice. It combos really well with Scarlet Bird. It can get targets such as Lift Tauros over here, who doesn't have to actually be placed from your hand, so you can use it to stand your rested Vanguard if you need to, and all around it's just a really good card, so 4 of Typhoon Bird. Then we have 4 copies of Beast Deity Brainy Papio. Weirdly enough, he is my least favorite Beast Deity. I mean, I like his art. I love his art, but in terms of skill, he's my least favorite Beast Deity. So grade 2, Intercept 5k Shield, 9k base. Auto, when you discard from hand, you may call it to rearguard as rest. Okay, that's just good for all of the ethics because all of them have discard skills. Unless Extreme doesn't have a discard skill and I misread him, but I'm pretty sure all of them have discard skills. I know 2 of them have it. I don't know about the 3rd one. But the point is that since all of them have discard skills and they activate on swing basically, more or less, that means when you discard him, you can call him. And since they can do it during the main phase, you can call Scarlet Bird or Lift Tauros, stand them, and you essentially just got a -1 on your discard cost because he just went to board anyways, which is all really nice because he did it for free, and that's what I love about him. If he didn't come as rest, that would be a lot better, but so you can use it during battle phase, but obviously that'd be a bit too broken, so they would have to switch to open rearguard circle, and that's more of a gold thing. So yeah, really good that he basically makes the discard cost 1 on this card. Then he has Auto Van or Rear. When the attack of your Vanguard with Beast Deity in his card name hits, doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's a Beast Deity, and it has to hit something, Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, draw a card, choose up to 1 grade 2 or less with Beast Deity in his card name from your hand, call it to Rear, and that Rear gets +10 for the turn. At the end of the turn, return that Rearguard to your hand. Okay, so you can call any Beast Deity you want, and it will get +10. Now you see why these say during the main phase. Because if they didn't, what you could do is go full board swing with Van, they take it, this goes off, you call a Scarlet Bird, it gets +10, Scarlet Bird goes off, you Soul Blast, your board stands. And yet, for some reason, Vowing Sword getting 14 attacks is fair, but this deck, actually no, 15 attacks because of what they can do, but no, this deck getting more than freaking like 8, no, that's unfair. Bullshit, I say. Okay, well, Brainy Papio is still good. Like, I don't like how he costs a counter blast or soul blast either, but that on-hit skill is still really good because it allows you to get a guaranteed draw, and you do not have to call. But if you choose to call, cool, that rear guard's most likely hitting unless they already saw a trigger, and if you put on an Excel gift, unless they saw 2 triggers, it's most likely hitting, and it goes back to the hand at the end of the turn, so it's not going to die by any means, and it will just be alive. So all around, Brainy Papio is a really nice card for advancing the board during the aggressive phase, and can make your discards cost 1 less card, so all around, I think it's a good grade 2, 4 of. I also like its art. Then we move on to our grade 3s. I had no idea in what order I wanted to present these as, so I'm just going to present them from the dark side to the good side. So first up, we have 3 copies of Deadliest Beast Deity, Ethics Buster Reverse. This thing is better than the Extreme in all ways, shape, and form, in my opinion. I would love to hear someone argue me on this, because I'm actually curious of, like, the balances of this. I'm joking, by the way. I do think Extreme is okay in his own right, but I do still think Reverse is better. Anyways, grade 3, 20 Excel gift, 12k base. Auto Van, when your rear guard attacks, if this unit is in the standing position, that rear guard gets locked immediately. So, you immediately lock before your opponent can guard, which sucks because that means you're losing out on swings, but that's fine because Auto Van, not once per turn, at the end of when this unit attacks, it gets +5 for the turn. For no apparent reason, that's just a free +5, okay? And at the end of the battle, you may drop a single hand card. So that's just a Brainy Papio, you drop essentially nothing. Choose 3 of your locked cards, unlock them, retire them, and if you retire 3, stand it. So you have to, it's a mandatory choose 3, but you complete the skill as much as possible if I'm correct, based off of other cards that have similar wording. So if you only have 2 lock cards, you still got to unlock 2 and murder them both. But that's fine, because, you know, if you do kill 3, that's a restand without a counter blast or a soul blast, and if you call it a Brainy Papio from the skill, that's just a free restand. Cool. That's good, especially because when he swings again, he's just a 22, and he doesn't lose drives. And then Auto Van, when this new attack hits, Soul Blast 1, Beastie, Ethics Buster, and it gets +1 drive for the turn. So the reason it says this is because Ethics Buster's skill, the OG one, because assuming they would use it during the main phase, would make you lose drives if the attack hit the first time, so it's meant to balance it out. But you never remember that if they for some reason guarded the first one, for whatever reason whatsoever, and then they took the second one or third one, then once you Soul Blast the Ethics Buster, you actually get triple drive for the turn. So if you ever see this thing come down and they wrote it from the original Ethics Buster, regardless of the damage you're at, if there is a remote chance you are taking something this turn, take this one. Because even if they sack a crit, it'll be better for you, because if you do live, they're only keeping twin drive and not going to triple drive. That's what I'm telling you. But either way, that's still really good, because each time it attacks, it's going to get 5k more. It has a possibility to get extra drive, because the Soul Blast one isn't once per turn. So if you have multiple Ethics Buster and Soul, that's just going to keep stacking. But All around is a really good card, very terrifying, and the amount of tactics that you can get with this thing is insane. Yeah, you're losing your board, but who needs a fucking board when you're doing Vanguard attacks? The reverse proved it's legal, why not do it with this one? So 3 copies of Ethics Buster Reverse because it's good. Then we have 3 copies of Strongest Beast Deity, Ethics Buster Extreme. You see, you can't claim the title of Strongest when Narukami, a deck that had no right being able to board restand, was able to board restand literally the day after this was released. You see, your title of Strongest has immediately gone to Narukami. You don't get a stay in this, buddy. So grade 3 Twin Drive XL gift, 12k base. I do like his art, I just feel like his skill isn't that good. Auto Van, when your unit, regardless of what it is, with Beast Deity and its card name, stands by its card ability. If your Beast Deity Ethics Buster is in Soul, this unit gets +5 for the turn. So if its self stands included, or your rear guard stand, it gets +5. And that's each time. So if you do a board restand and you have like, well, say you restood your back row and you have all your back row filled, that's +15 to Van. So that's cool. It's a free 15. And then Auto Van, once per turn, of course it is, when your drive check reveals a card with Beast Deity in its card name, counterblast 1, discard 1, choose one of your rear guards with Beast Deity in its card name and at the same grade, and stand it. Okay, so if your drive check has a grade 2 Beast Deity, and you have, say for example, Brainy Papio on board, by counterblasting 1 and dropping a card, you can stand the Brainy Papio as long as the Beast Deity check was a grade 2. Now it's the second it reveals a card. So either it was like, if that was your first drive check, you can choose not to activate it and then pray that your next drive check is something you want to get for activation. Or you could do it on the first try and then pray to God that the next one is just a trigger. Because that's how it is. It's either you get lucky or you screw yourself over. And then if you have, if your damage one has 4 or more cards in it, stand all your units with Beast Deity in their card names of the same grade as the unit stood. So essentially, if you still drive check grade 2 and Brainy Papio was on rear and Brainy Papio stood, then you would stand everyone else that's a grade 2 if you're at 4 more damage. Now, are you wondering if this is good or not? Here, let me tell you, it's really not, because like, it requires you to make your board this grade that you're going to drive check. So if you drive check a grade 1 and most of your board is grade 2s, only the grade 1s are going to stand. And if those grade 1s are in the back row, I feel sorry for you because none of them are swinging, because BCs do not have a way to swing from back row. So it's not good. Like, the potential it can get is big, but then Narukami just does the job so much better, to the point where, like, the only reason he's here is because the deck is meant to have Ethics Buster around it, not meant because he's good. This thing is, like, okay at best. I'm not gonna, like, good news is he can stand himself. So if you do see a grade 3, he will stand himself, but still, it's, just write this. Like, unless you really want to flex, just write this. 3 copies of Extreme, can't really say anything else but that. I mean, good news is that if you do the board restand and they don't PG it, then he could just get a fuck ton of numbers. So I guess he forces out a PG, but otherwise, yeah, he's just not that good. Then we move on to our what would classify as the main grade 3, because both these require him and Soul to actually do their full effects. Beast Deity Ethics Buster, grade 3 200 XL gift, 12k base, auto van. When placed or when rode upon, discard 2. So if you just discard 2 Brainy Papios, that's just a free skill. Stand one of your units with Beast Deity in its card name, and attack your opponent's Vanguard with that unit. So it doesn't matter if the unit's already standing, you can still choose that unit, and it will attack the opponent's Vanguard with it. At the end of the battle, if the attack did not hit, the unit stands back up, and if the attack did hit, the unit loses a drive for the turn. The reason why it says that is because you're going to pick this unit. You're going to, on place, or on rode upon, drop 2, swing with this unit, do your twin drive, and then if they let it hit, then it loses a drive, and then you just stand it back up with a Scarlet Bird or Tauros, and then, you know, you just get -1 drive for the turn, unless you run this thing, and then you just have still twin drive. Or they guard it because they're probably at 4 or 5 damage, and they saw a crit come down earlier, and then this thing stands, you get to be more aggressive. And then Auto Van, when your unit Beast Deity card name attacks, it doesn't matter if it's this unit or someone else, Counterblast 1, that unit gets +5 for the turn. Okay, really nice. Forces out at least 5k more to guard, and it's more aggressive with the deck. So I think it's a really good grade 3 skill because it allows even the smallest of numbers to have a chance of hitting. And it's good because I remember when I first fought this, my opponent ended up using that skill because they had 5 counterblasts to spare. That was annoyingly hard to guard because everything was swinging for, granted, 5k drops, but that's 5 cards I had to discard from my hand to survive. And then there was still the Vanguard that was attacking twice, and I was at 5 damage. I had to drop, what, 9-ish hand cards, somewhere, but either 8 or 9 hand cards to live that turn, and that was not, and I still won in the end because I trigger stacked my way to victory, but that was not fucking comfortable. I had to drop so much to live that turn, and it was not worth it. But like, 4 of Ethics Buster, it's good. It genuinely is good. Somehow it's better than this, I'd argue. I would argue it's better than this, because while yes, it doesn't like fuck over anything that isn't a PG, let's be fair. It doesn't require itself in Soul to actually be useful. No offense, Extreme. So 4 of Ethics Buster because it's the one that requires both of these to be in Soul. Then we have our Excel gifts. We have 6XL1, 6XL2s. I highly doubt the game will ever go to the point where you get to 6XLs, but if you manage to do it, good job on you. You get a clap on the back, and so does your opponent for letting you get this far. So when both kits are made, they go on top left and top right. That is a mandatory thing. It goes in that order. I don't know why Bushy made this an official ruling. I don't really care, but sure. So XL1, the unit on the circle gets plus 10 during your turn, and XL2, when it's made, you get to draw a card, and the unit on that circle gets plus 5 during your turn. Okay, so this one adds more aggressiveness to the power, and this one adds more consistency options, as I were to say. Go XL2, because you're dropping a lot of hand cards for this, and you're going to need a constant supply of rear guards for reverse to stand, and then if you really want to pull this off, you're going to need a constant supply of rear guards of all the same grade for it to do this. So, yeah, I suggest going XL2 just to make sure that you have more consistency, but if you really need to kill your opponent that quickly, go XL1. But again, XL2 is probably best. And then we have our Quick Show, which activates when one of your units is attacked. The unit on the being attacked will get plus 5 for the battle. So it's just a 5k shield that you use for discard fodder of literally all of these. Everything in this deck that has a discard skill, that's what you use this for. If you really need to use it in the early game, go ahead, but otherwise you save it in hand for these 3. So yeah, that's our 5k. And that's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. All around, like, I'm not gonna lie, I do enjoy Beast Deities. Like, they're not my favorite, especially because they don't have Golden Angler yet. The second they give us Golden Angler, I'll be more satisfied. But Beast Deities are not my favorite, but Extreme, I can tell Beast Deities kind of, like, didn't need them. Because, yeah, that first skill is really solid. It will only go off each time you stand something. So, like, not that good, especially when a second skill is, like, so bad. And then you think that, oh, yeah, Bushy definitely did that on purpose because they couldn't get any better. Nope, Battle Saber did it. So they have no excuse. Bushy has no excuse but to, like, say, yeah, we purposely did this. Ethics deserved it for whatever reason. So, yeah, that's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join Discord, follow the Twitch, and I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to stand up your vanguards.